Hey everyone, and how's it going? My name is Brendan, and I hope all of you guys are having a great day wherever you are from, and welcome back to another cryptocurrency video. Today, the crypto markets are down around 3 to 5% depending on the cryptocurrency, and there are a few outliers out there like ICP, but this was to be expected because if you remember from the previous video, Bitcoin had this major support line coming up. This was former support turned into resistance, and of course, we've already rejected off this once, and we just now rejected off it for the second time yesterday. So with Bitcoin rejecting off of this, falling around 3 to 5%, this wasn't this obscure turn of events. This was to be expected, but there's a lot of great cryptocurrency news that is happening in the markets right now. Things like Nike that is now hiring for 5 separate metaverse positions. This could be your opportunity to get into the metaverse if that's something that interests you with a Fortune 500 company. Other things like crypto startups are still raising a ton of cash. Mass adoption is still on the rise despite cryptocurrency and the price of cryptocurrency falling. There's potentially going to be a crypto breakthrough in the West. There are 2 states out of the United States of America that are potentially looking to add Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as tax payments. And finally, in a massive turn of events, India is not going to be banning cryptocurrency, and in fact, they are going to be creating their own digital rupee and adding a tax to cryptocurrency as if it was gambling tax of around 30%. So we have all this and more coming in today's episode. If you guys like to stay updated in everything crypto, this is going to be your one-stop shop for it. We go over the technicals, we go over the fundamentals and what's happening in the news and how all of it correlates. So let's go back to the chart and then we'll start diving into this news here. But of course, Bitcoin has been repeating the same cycle, and we've talked about this in the previous videos. But previous support has now turned into resistance, and we've repeated this 4 separate times now. We've seen it happen once up here around November, and this has happened, and let me just take a step back for a moment, but this has happened 4 times in the last 3 months. This is nothing new for us. So if you are new here, let me explain, because we have a former area where Bitcoin was bouncing. After it actually ended up breaking down, it retested this level, rejected it, fell through, and then former support turned into resistance. Now, after we've gone through this cycle 4 times now, this leads us to where we're currently at, which we just continued. Former support of what we saw back in January or early January, we now tested this not once, but actually twice over here, most recently yesterday, and we rejected off of this area, and since then we have fallen from around 39,000 all the way down to around 37,000, which is a drop of around $2,000 and 5.5%. Now, where do we think Bitcoin can go from here? Now, ideally, if you're a bull, you want to see this pattern break. You want to see this downtrend pattern break in Bitcoin. You want it to start hitting higher swing highs and not lower swing highs. So Bitcoin really needs to break above 40,000, and that could be a potential sign of a reversal. If it can't and it ends up breaking through the support of 33, my immediate eyes are closer towards the bottom of the $30,000 zone. But let's talk about what's happening in the metaverse right now. You know, what's happening all across the news, because there's a lot of stuff happening over here. Now with Nike, I'm sure most of you know who they are. I know, and sorry if I'm talking fast here, but as I'm sure most of you are aware of who Nike is, they've already made their debut into the metaverse, but they're looking to get a little bit deeper into it. So what we're going to do over here is actually take a look at the tweet and some of these positions that they are hiring for. Things like an expert of innovation program manager for blockchain purposes, a virtual material designer, I'm assuming for NFTs, a director of metaverse engineering, a principal innovation engineer for the metaverse, and finally, a senior 3D game designer for a metaverse engineer. So if any of these interest you, I would make sure to go check these out. Some of these have been live for around a week or 2 now, but as they're starting to get popularity, I am sure there's going to be a lot of people applying to these positions. Nonetheless, still pretty cool to see big companies getting into the metaverse, liking how it went, and wanting to dive their feet in a little bit deeper this time around with full-time positions and not just these one-time offerings. Now, this should come to no one's surprise. Crypto startups are still raising a serious amount of cash despite cryptocurrency falling. As I always say, just because the price is falling, that does not mean that fundamentals are failing. The fundamentals behind cryptocurrency right now are getting increasingly stronger every single day, every single week, every single month. The fundamentals and what's happening behind the scenes are still going very well. It's not like Bitcoin crashed offline and no one can use it. Bitcoin's still chugging. Cryptocurrency, for the most part, is still moving forward. There's still adoption happening. So this makes sense that the startups are still raising a ton of capital, because this still is a growing industry despite the price fluctuating and pulling back from time to time. This is another cool one over here. This is one that ultimately I don't think it will get passed through, but this is nice to see this starting to happen within the United States. Proposals from Arizona and Wyoming are trying to accept Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as a mean of tax payments. Now, many see this actually as a potential warning sign of the US dollar. People don't believe that this should be allowed because it could undermine the true value of the US dollar and its legitimacy. But what they were trying to say in defense here is that they're just looking for other options for people to pay their taxes in, because there is a little bit of sign of weakening in the US dollar, and it could be a good idea to have other options available for Americans in these states. Now, whether this is actually going to get passed or not, we'll have to stick around and find out. Personally, I don't think the United States and these states inside of them are at that level yet. As someone who lives in the United States, I just think it would be pretty crazy and maybe just a little bit ahead of ourselves if states started accepting something like this. It would be great, don't get me wrong. It'd be really cool. I just don't see it. I just don't see it getting passed as of right now. Further down the rabbit hole of cryptocurrency, let's talk about India. This has to be one of the biggest things to come out of the news this week. And I believe this actually came out yesterday. But India is not going to be banning cryptocurrency. For those of you who don't know, India has been one of the most bearish countries when it comes to crypto for at least the last 5 or 6 or 7 years now. They have not been a big fan of cryptocurrency, banning it before, barring it. But now they are going to be developing their own digital rupee. And what this shows me is that even the most bearish countries on crypto will eventually come around, and that's exactly what we're seeing with India. Now, with them not only banning it but adopting it, they're also going to be taxing it. Now, the tax is going to be a pretty hefty amount of 30%. They're going to be treating it like gambling taxes and gambling gains. So that is where that tax is coming from, and that's where it's going to be getting put under. So if you're from India, congratulations on this win. I know that some people are going to argue here that this isn't a win because of how much it's going to be getting taxed. But understand that a country that was formerly adamantly against it and banning it, moving to at least a high tax, is at least having it as an allowable asset, is that the correct term, for people to at least trade now. So that's still a good sign. Some adoption is better than no adoption. Congratulations if you are here from India and you're now able to trade cryptocurrency regularly and freely and legally. But that is rounding us out in the news today. Going back to the overall market sentiment, we can see that again with these pullbacks here. We talked about our levels. The main levels that I'm keeping an eye out are 39 to 40,000 to the upside, and then something like 30,000 if we end up breaking below our current monthly, or I guess in this case yearly low. So that is going to be it for this video. I hope you all did enjoy. If you have any questions, make sure to stick around for the future videos. We have a lot of content like this coming out. Check out the links in my description as well. There's tons of content down there, tons of stuff for you to check out. We have some cool conferences that are coming up that I hope all of you can be a part of. With that being said, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.